she finished drill our old brains.
Drill? Always experienced people, man. Experienced women, experienced parents.
Yeah, but different times, you know, different times.
Different times? I think every time, every age has its problem. Its trials. Right? What parents facing nowadays with technology, of course you didn't have it, but you spread your story according to your home life. So people, people are really happy that you were able to join us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. You recently produced your book called the Pearl of Piparo. How is it doing, by the way?
Doing very well. Actually, all we had so far sold out.
Really?
We're expecting our next shipment.
Very good.
We should get that very soon. And we have plenty orders out.
I put here about it. What about if I put the Ghost of Cora along with the Pearl of Piparo?
The ghosts are fighting now.
Two different style of writing.
I
One
mean,
very professional.
no, no wonder it. Lyndon said your book is doing excellent.
Yeah.
You read it? You know, I lent the boy the book. And I know what he did with the book. But it's somewhere in the house and he can't give it to me yet.
Yeah.
So I am behind.
Oh, you haven't read it yet?
I haven't read it yet. But I know he'll find it. I know he'll find it.
It's well.
But he was real pleased with it.
Okay.
Louise and the tomatoes, boy. Huh?
Lyndon say something good. It's good, yeah?
Yeah, he said something good.
If you say that book is good, you know it's a good book.
Okay, what kind of fish is that, Louise?
Salmon.
Salmon. From the carcass?
Yeah, boy. Fresh, good salmon from the
Okay,
carcass.
but yeah, no. So, Polly, we're talking today about parenting. Are you good? What do you make of that? In your day, what was it like?
Well, most of my kids are adults now.
Right.
So the stories I hear about parenting now, I don't really know very much about it. I can only talk about parenting in my days. Because of course parents in my days, they were very strict. You know, the tambron whip and the celluloid belt meant a lot to us. Just the sight of those things would have us straightened. You know, and in my day, we were always anxious to achieve. I am sure in your school, the school you went to, right? There was always a competition. You always had in mind you wanted to do well. But I am not sure that is the case nowadays.
What kind of stories, you say you say the stories you hear now. What kind of stories you're hearing now?
We're hearing a lot about fighting. We usually have fights long ago, but simple fights. But now I'm seeing gang fights and things in school. I am hearing where children not paying a lot of attention, as much attention as we used to pay in our day. Right? Because in our days we didn't have science lab, we didn't have qualified teachers, but these days they have everything. And I'm not sure that they're making the best use of it. Because you know very well, in our days, common entrance used to be exhibition. And only about 5 children in each school used to pass. Others like myself and yourself, we used to have to pay fees. And we didn't have qualified teachers. And we made the best of it. But nowadays, I'm not sure they're making the best of what they have. They're just taking it for granted.
Well, what's the cause of that? I mean, why? Everything at their fingertip now, and they're not making the best of it. But what do you think is the root cause of that?
I don't know. They just have everything very easy.
Yeah.
This is
like
the whole
it's
thing.
easy.
They have things easy. They get school lunches. Most of them get transportation to go to school. I don't know if that is part of the problem or if it's because most parents are working. They have jobs. Long ago parents didn't have jobs. Most housewives used to be home doing housewife things. But now most housewives are out there working. And a lot of wives are also seeking employment abroad and leaving the children to fend for themselves. I don't know if that is part of the problem.
Most of the time.
It's perhaps part of the problem.
Yeah.
So children are left, lots of children are left on their own.
So how do you think that could be rectified, girl?
that is a hard question, and that needs a lot of input from, I suppose, a lot of qualified people to see how best it can be done. What can be done about it, I don't know.
So you grew up in the countryside, and you had this aspiration to really move ahead, right? I think this is the thread in your story, isn't it?
Yes, because your aim and your goal was to get a better life, to attain a better life. So you know your parents, my father for instance was working in a sand quarry, hard work, had to actually walk almost 5 miles per day to get to his work, right? Leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning. And lots of things we wanted in life we couldn't get. We see other people getting it and we couldn't get. So you tell yourself most times that you want a better life. So your aim was to get a better life. And in school in those days we had children, we had competition in school, competition to get ahead, competition to get your 5 O levels. Your aim was to get a job either in the public service, you know, or to get a job as a teacher or a nurse. That used to be your aim. You wanted to get out of the situation that you were in. So it was actually an effort, making an effort to succeed. Look at my book launch. I met a schoolmate who I had known in school for during my period in school, and he came to my book launch. And it was such a pleasure seeing him, because our days in school was lovely days where we would all fight to achieve. At the beginning of each day, we would want to know how we did at certain projects, how we managed. This basically was our goal, but I am not sure that's the goal of young people nowadays.
You think the job market, the way things have changed in the job market now, for instance, people are very qualified, but there's nowhere to go. Some people are overqualified.
Yeah.
Some children are overqualified.
So there's nothing to motivate them now because
So,
no jobs
I mean,
available. I don't know.
Okay, some of these robberies you're hearing about, sometimes you hear that the youngsters who might be involved, they are very bright boys, and maybe even girls among them. So what is happening on the job market? You as an entrepreneur in your own way, with your school feeding program, what do you think about the job market affecting youngsters nowadays?
I don't know. I feel people are over anxious. They are in a hurry to get rich quick. I took a young man the other day, and he was supposed to start work at 6 o'clock, and he was coming at 7:30 and at 8, and I had to let him go. In the end, his comment was that he can make more money on the outside, right? So it's their trust to achieve too much too quickly that have them out there. You understand? It's difficult to get people, young people especially, who are prepared to work and to work hard, knowing that there's a process in order to get what you want, in order to reach where you want. A lot of them, as soon as they start to work, they want to get a car. But tell me how long it took you in life before you could have afforded a car. How long it took you before you could have afforded certain things, before you could have afforded to get a house. You understand? And things like that. How many apartments you rented with outdoor facility before you could afford to get indoor facility. But young people, they expect to get it quickly, and that is part of the problem.
Well, do you think we have a social problem in that, long ago you had a lot of role models, for instance, a fireman, a police officer, a priest even, and you think it's because we lack role models out there?
Well, starting, I suppose, with your parents, because delinquent parents just make delinquent children, right? And your first role model is your parent, and I don't know whether we have many of them. And I know respect is another thing, because I always tell Mr. Spring, who has been a teacher for years, he meets sometimes some of his students on the road, and instead of calling out to Mr. Spring, It's spring. You understand long ago when you see your teachers, it used to be a big thing. You have respect for that teacher and you'll be careful how you speak. You speak to him, but this doesn't happen again. You know, no, I was outside of a secondary school sometime, and I was sitting in the principal's office, and there were children outside misbehaving, and the principal went outside to discipline those children, and the language that came out of her mouth had me appalled. No, the principal, she was using all the mother and the mother and the mother.
The principal?
The principal. So if this is what is happening in secondary school, what do you expect?
But do you think the principal was driven to that because of frustration and all that?
No principal. You had to have that in you, Lance. No principal. I am sorry. I am sorry.
So what did you tell the principal?
Me? I couldn't know.
Did you? Why did you not say, Madam, what are you doing?
Louise, that was my business.
That's right, you have to know
Only thing
it.
I could have done is when I came home to tell my husband. I said, this is the sort of principal you all have out there.
How did Cecil cope with schooling as a teacher, as a principal? How did he cope with it?
Well, I suppose as a principal you're meeting all sorts. You have to deal with all sorts of children. Because I remember they were having some function in their school and they were training children to take part in different things. And one of these teachers trained some students in a little play. The minister was coming to the function and the children was doing this play. And when I heard some of the language came out of the children's mouth, I saw it was Ramarika Singh was the Minister of Education in those days. And when I heard the language coming out of the children's mouth, I saw Ramarika Singh quiver. And that was part of the play, and that was accepted. So when I told my husband, I said, what's happening in your school? Is that how the teachers behave? He said, that lady, as far as she's concerned, that was excellent. That was
Culture
excellent.
change,
Right.
Culture change.
So how do I deal with that? And these are the sort of people I suppose principals have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You can do so much,
Yeah.
right? But
Otherwise,
that is as far as you go.
Yeah.
But
You have to draw the line.
Yeah.
Well, tell me something now. With your background, how did you cope with your children? What did you instill in them? I know their record, an impeccable one, but I still want to hear it from you. How did you cope with your children, knowing your values and whatnot? When you had these youngsters, how did you plan? Or did it just fall into place?
Well, because of my background, and I wanted my children to get most of the things that I wasn't able to get. So at the start, I charted a course for them. It wasn't what they want, it's what I wanted for them. Right? I know the schools that they wanted to go to, and this is from preschool to primary school to secondary school. There was this lady on television, Undine Giuseppe was her name. Her language was impeccable, and I used to always say, whatever school that lady is teaching, I want my children to go to that school. I want them to go to that school because I wanted to train children not only for Trinidad employment or employers. I wanted to train children that could fit in anywhere, any part of the world. So I wanted special schools for them. My husband and I always had problems as to what school the children should go to. But you heard what he said. He never won a battle yet. Right?
Woman is boss.
So I had the school that I wanted them to go to. Right? I had, and thank God, the school they went to, they had problems. They met children who had the same aim and aspirations as they had. Children who were anxious to achieve. Right? So in secondary schools, when they got into the secondary schools that I wanted them to get in, they had children who their aim was scholarship, their aim was SATs and this sort of thing. And peer pressure is something very important. You either have good peer pressure or bad peer pressure. And thank God they had good peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain age, when they figure, well, they did a lot and they were doing well in school and whatnot, they started to ask to go to Club Coconut and to Pier 1 and things like that. But we were happy that they had people who had the same kind of ambition as they had.
Mm-hmm.
And background as they had. We were happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing about going to the Pier 1 and the Club Coconut is that they used to have us up for the whole night waiting to see when they would come home.
Yeah. That was an anxiety, yeah?
Yeah, and things like that. But thank God, I don't think we had a lot of problems we had with them. Right? We had problems when they wanted to go away, what it's going to be like having them away with strange people. But I think basically they were trained well.
That's good.
We had them close to the church. They knew what it was to pray. They know what it was to seek God help in the middle of everything they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Louise, where are you? What are you doing behind me?
Stuck behind you.
You're stuck behind me for a change. I'm the one that always stuck behind her. Yeah, come with the food, girl. We can't only talk, you know.
Look at my stew fish.
Your stew fish. Oh my. Oh yeah. Lovely.
Stew fish and okra rice. That's the
Okay.
salad to come up now. But meanwhile, Pearl is doing great.
Yeah, Paul is doing wonderfully.
Pearl, a question that read that.
Yeah, leave that. I pick it up.
Was yours?
No, it's yours, Louise. Let's knock
It's
it off.
mine.
Knock it off.
That sounds like mine.
Yeah.
Simmering.
Same ring.
Alana, let me call you back, please, darling. Okay.
Louise, let's switch that off, will you? We don't need that kind of interruption now. Unless you're gonna actually call her a couple of questions yourself.
Yeah. Like yourself, our children, Liba went all the way to university, and Liba never went on a date.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I don't even know that Liba friends will drop her home and they may visit shortly. But that was all. Right through. Lisa met Ian, and in quick time, they got married. And as I always say, to me, their dating was on a Saturday going to look for house. So we never had that kind of challenge of teenage dating and anxieties and all of that.
Yeah.
With the boys, it was different. With the boys, it was different. And I guess long ago we were brought up, a guy can get away with things, but not the girls. So once your daughter's going straight, somehow you will tell your boys, be careful, and things like that. You know what I mean? Choose the right girl, the right family, coming from the right family. To me, that was the kind of drive that, if it's anything, the involvement was like, be sure that the girl, the background is, that we can relate to each other.
Yeah.
And because long ago people, it was important, the family you come from.
So would you say now along this line that parents had a great influence on the mate that children will choose?
Well, altogether, I don't think parents really have that influence, because when people are in love, they love, and no matter what you tell them, they will do and choose who they want.
You're very right, because listen, let me just interject a bit. When on the day of our marriage, okay, we used to go up in the old hills there and by this flowing water, and we'll clean the car. And my dad my dad, after we had cleaned the car, and in 2 hours' time I'll be at the church, and Louise will, become my wife. But my dad never sat down, and Lyndon has accused me also of this, Dad, you never talk to me about, about life.
Right.
Okay, fine. And when we were coming home now to get ready, the old man looked at me and he said, Lance, you sure you know what you're doing, boy? Right? And so I met you in 1970. In 71 we get married in how many months? In 10 months?
10 months.
In 10 months. And he's asking me on the day of my wedding, Lance, you know what you're doing, boy? So really and truly there was not a discussion in my family
Right.
about,
Yeah.
and I'm the last of 11, and all of us got married.
Right.
Right? So Lance, you know what you're doing, boy? I could tell him now if he was here, hey, I'm glad you didn't talk to me about marriage before. Right?
No, I mean with our children, I remember, you will be concerned that it's the right partner and you're from the right background. And to me that's about as far as you would go.
But you can't impress him. You can't impress until
Not
you
at
start.
all,
No, you
because
can't.
a child will marry who they love.
Yeah.
Is that your experience with your children? They'll marry who they love?
Yes. Yes.
And that is the case for
But it's
everybody.
lovely when it
Who
works.
you love. You will
Yeah.
marry.
But it's lovely
because-
when it works, eh?
Yeah, because my daughter, she was madly in love. She went to Australia. We didn't like the guy. She went to Australia, and he went behind her, and we were so upset. But eventually, they came back, and they got married secretly.
Really?
They got married secretly, and we didn't know until a long time afterwards that they got married. It's a long story how we found out that they got married.
Imagine. You see what I mean? So it's
So
who you
no
love.
matter how much they love and how much talking you do, they don't really pay attention.
So you can
But that
imagine
was-
the difficulty now in homes.
Yeah,
And let's take,
Yeah.
for instance, the invasion of social media.
right.
A child doesn't really have to go out there and date any longer. You can date off the phone.
It's true.
Yeah,
And
it's
find
scary,
the wrong
yeah?
people.
Right?
Yeah,
you
it's
can
very
find,
scary.
you know what I mean?
But one thing I find very important is that long ago, I used to talk to my children about my experiences. Not only my experiences with friends who fall off the radar at an early age and got into the wrong relationship and interfere with their whole career, right? Because I didn't really have a mother to tell me certain things. I got all of my knowledge, all my experiences. Remember True Confessions magazine we used to read long
Yes,
ago?
yes.
Through Confession magazines.
And then I'm going on in the toilet to read it.
Boy,
Yeah.
and they would see you reading it and figure you're reading bad books.
Bad book, yes. True
You know what I
confession.
mean?
Yeah.
I got all of my knowledge from reading True Confessions, and there are certain proper names we didn't know. I used to wonder what it is. What is the meaning of menstruation? When they mentioned that in True Confession, I said, what are they talking about? Because you never heard your parents talk about that.
They didn't know that word, you.
You understand what
Oh,
I
do
mean?
you, okay, Pearl, so let's fast forward a little bit. Do you feel that parents today talk about these things?
It's whether they have time.
Whether they have time.
It's whether they have time to talk about
But
it.
then they can
I don't know.
also go to the net and check out things.
Yeah.
Well,
I think parents now are forced. They are forced from very early to tell their children the facts of life. Because the child going to hear it from their friends and then they'll hear it in a raw way. So I'm of the impression that parents have, and their children ask questions more than children did it long ago. I remember Lyndon was like 5 years old. Lyndon was the beginning of the new generation, yeah? When Lyndon was 5 years old, we were on a bus in St. Lucia, and a lady came in pregnant, and he said, "Why is her belly so big?" And he said, "She's pregnant." And
What is
how
that?
she get pregnant? But the other kids never ask questions like that, But Lyndon is the beginning, he's 40, of the new generation.
right. And then sitting around the dinner table, Parents don't have time again to sit around the dinner table
Uh-huh.
and have discussions with their children
Right.
and find out how the days they went, who are the friends, what the friends involved in. Parents don't have time these days for that.
That's right. That's right.
That is quite true. Actually, we did an article or a subject on eating at the dinner table.
Right,
That is
right.
something not found in a home anymore.
Not again, not again.
Yeah. And usually at a table you could tell when there's a problem. When a child started to tell you they're not hungry, they don't come into the table, you know, look, that's some trouble there.
So how did Cecil cope as a father then? What was his sentiment? I mean, he should be here to answer that himself.
I will tell you one thing. One of my aim as a child growing up, what I was looking for in a husband who was, what's the word, not sturdy, straightforward, and a husband who was good at maths, so that when the children grow up and I couldn't help them, I could say, go to your father. But Lance, it didn't work out that way. Because my husband felt their father is a teacher and you're supposed to know better. So it means when they were taking some time to get to the root of a problem, his thing was to use the belt.
School teacher style.
Right.
Headmaster style.
And as a result, I stopped it right away and get a maths teacher.
Oh,
This is how they
okay.
started going by Mr. Moyo and this other guy in the street. What's his name again?
Alan?
The guy down the road. What's his name?
Andrews.
No. About 3 houses from you all.
Oh, Marcel. Reese.
Not Marcel. His parents died.
Oh yes, Fouché.
Right.
Okay.
Right. This is
So
how they started going there.
By him?
Yeah, he used to
So
teach
he's
maths.
older. How old is your
He's
second girl?
He's older than my children.
Okay.
He's 40 this year.
You see Faith Lyndon's age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a
And
modern
then-
set of children from
Right.
that age.
And after that, they started going by Mr. Moyo. This is how they started going by Mr. Moyo. Yeah, so it didn't really work out. I wasn't a husband who was stable because I was a party girl. So I wanted somebody to keep me on the right track.
How is the party?
I was a party girl. I used to be playing mass and thing.
Don't make jokes.
And my children is just the opposite. Every party, I used to be in every party.
Eh?
Yeah.
I was country girl come from town,
Yeah.
So in them days, the party had little how were the things prepared? Let's see if it like what we had in Cora there.
We should have
Well,
Dutch
maybe
party.
she's the
We should have Dutch party.
Dutch party, yeah.
Yeah.
You everybody bring a little thing, yeah?
Yeah, I knew this guy for years. Crazy. Calypsonian Crazy. He was from Tunapuna. I used to have the biggest party in Tunapuna.
Aye.
Yeah.
So you hang out in a sort of crazy parties.
You understand? He used to be in my party. I used to live on Fairley Street in Tunapuna with Squadron. Remember that side?
Somewhere from there.
Yeah. So I
And
said,
you remember we were up in the bush, we were kind of isolated, eh?
They only
All-
had bush parties.
We had bush parties.
All in our party.
did you know the Planchat in Tunapuna?
No.
Yes.
Planchat, doing Planchat, and they were living right next door to us in Tunapuna.
Some Redskin people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joan died, didn't she?
Joan died years ago.
Whatever happened to them? I knew
I
that
used to see
family.
them.
Xenia,
And Senior.
Antonia,
Yeah,
Jessica.
their family.
And Lawrence and David.
Lawrence and David. Well, I know Lawrence died.
And David went to Venezuela years ago.
Ah.
Yeah.
One of those girls was Lance's girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
No, a temporary acquaintance.
Well, Lance, you have to be like a Bill Clinton, You play the trumpet, the saxophone. You've been out there. Otherwise, you would make a good husband.
Exactly.
But you have to know when to stop, eh?
Right.
Yeah, okay, you have to know when to stop, otherwise it's trouble, yeah?
Indeed. Yeah. So before we went off on this party scene, there was a topic that we were talking about.
Well, I don't know, that's part of the age group now, eh?
you asked about Cecil.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And you told me that things changed because you wanted him to be your maths teacher and whatnot. The children's teacher.
Right.
Mm.
And I wanted stability.
Stability.
Yeah, because I was a party girl and he was.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to lose him in fete all the
Well,
time.
we country
I
girls.
used to lose him in fete.
Not that
Elaborate a little bit there.
she's all over the floor.
Oh.
He must in one place, but she all over the place, so she lose him.
And I leave him
What
holding
he
the
lose
drinks.
her?
I leave him holding the drinks. And Shell Savannah, we coming out of Shell Savannah Club to go out on the road, right? And then I remember my husband sitting with the drinks, and I went back.
And he was never angry fellow, eh?
No.
Cecil, even in school, we went to school together, and he was never
He was
an
stable,
aggressive.
man. She says
Yeah, he was a cool
stable.
fellow.
Right.
So she got that.
We accepted each other.
That's very nice.
Who we are.
And
So-
I think that
Right.
is, Pearl hit a point there, and that is the real core of marriage,
Yeah.
to accept each other for who we
Yeah.
are. Don't try to change the person.
That, not only that, and cultivate each other.
Cultivate each other.
Cultivate each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be strong.
Not change,
Yeah.
but
All the
cultivate.
weak parts to pump up the weak parts. He knows he knows my weaknesses, and I know his.
Right, and you
So we
accept
try
that
to-
and you work
right.
with that. Well,
Yeah.
when I was in the country, we country girls seem to have been thinking a lot. One of the things that I wanted in a husband was that he would know the whole of Trinidad. He could take care of.
That's how you reach up, Cora.
And we started with a donkey cart, eh? I was the donkey.
Yeah, I want a husband who could take me all over Trinidad because in Caucasus is just one straight route to get me
Right.
And if you run too fast, you're in the sea, eh?
You realize that guy had it wrong?
Who's this?
Nazir Sultan, when he said this young girl came from the country to do maths, and instead of doing maths, you wanted to do biology. You should be in prison. You remember that? He had it so wrong.
Okay.
Because I am older than Cecil.
Ah.
You understand? And I am the one who thinks Cecil, not Cecil. Thing. So, oh gosh, I'm just losing my thought. Anyway, I was the older one, so I am the one basically who pursued him rather than he pursuing me.
Oh, you pursued Cecil? I always tell
I
Louise
am
that
the
she
one
proposed
who-
to me,
I am the one who robbed the cradle.
You rubbed it. Was very good.
Lance says that I proposed to him.
But you rubbed it. Isn't it a wonderful thing to be able to express the truth, and have no qualms about it?
No hang-ups.
No hang-ups about it. That is wonderful.
Cecil's
I think
like
this is one of the key things too in homes, eh? Frank talk.
Right.
Not disrespectful, but frank.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
And you accept my friends.
Excuse me.
Cecil knew before I met him, I had friends. And before he met me,
That's
I had
great.
friends. So basically, we still have our friends.
That's very good.
I don't want to imprison you, and you shouldn't imprison me.
Exactly, Pearl. That girl. No talking me language, girl.
Yeah, he had friends and I had friends. So continue to make your friends. You see,
That's right.
that guy Nazir who spoke, he was my friend for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The one with the sharp tongue, the one who was talking and giving jokes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
He
was
was
slick.
always like that.
Yeah, very good. Well, Pearl, I think after all of this, we should have something to eat, don't
Oh
we?
gosh, talking enough.
We're talking
Right,
enough.
Food coming on the table, so you continue to talk with Pearl.
Yeah.
And soon we.
You have 2 minutes, Louise.
I am on a diet.
Yeah, well, it's diet
So
food.
the salad.
Diet food.
It's diet food. You have salad,
Yeah.
you have a little rice, and you have fish, so it's fine.
Whatever you choose to have, Pearl. Don't let Louisa bring your arm there. Louisa, take care of your trip there. You know, when we're doing this thing, an old-fashioned thing, Pearl.
Yeah.
Yes. Item number 1.
So we will have instead of dressing, you can have apple cider vinegar on your salad if you want.
Pearl is a connoisseur of fine meals,
I know.
So, but nevertheless,
Well, of course, his face taking over.
Oh, she's taking over.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. She's competent. Huh?
She's a work in progress.
Okay, very good, very good. And if she needs help, we could always employ Louisa.
You know. As
Okay, Louis, girl, bring your okra rice here. So, Paul, does that mean that you're going to fade into the background?
I could kind of fade, boy.
Fade into the background.
well,
Fade it.
you see, I am accustomed getting up at a certain hour and doing all the other things, especially the background things. My body has grown accustomed to going to the market and going to the grocery and things like that.
All right.
So it would take me some time before I could stop altogether.
Right.
Because according to my husband, you keep complaining that you're not well. As soon as you go out on the road, you are better.
Yes,
100%.
Yes.
Your body get accustomed to that.
Which market you go to? I mean, you shouldn't really tell me that
Makoya.
because
I go to Makoya market.
Makoya.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Louis, oh yes, here comes everything. And what supplies there? Yes, man. Well, thank you very much. This has been very interesting talking to you. Wish you continued success with the Pearl of Piparo. I see you have a brave little grandson there, man.
Oh yes. He's something else.
What's his name again?
Bryce.
Bryce.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryce, yes.
Bryce, man, he's coming next month. He's coming to spend part of his summer holiday in Trinidad.
Very nice.
Yeah, last year he was here. He liked it so much, so he wants to come back.
Good for him. Okay, Louise, you come here.
Well, Mr. Lancelot, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome, man. We enjoyed this.
Okay.
And thanks to your lovely wife for a very attractive meal.
Okay, well, I'll sign off because people have been saying to us, we should not be eating and talking because it's dangerous. We're choking.
But we love to eat and talk.
So we love to eat and talk, but we will just say a quiet grace, and then we would handle what Louise has made here. Okay, Willie?
Okay.
I'm going to sign off at this point.
Okay.